Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hi there, this is Dan and Jennifer Digman. This is Couple Takes on MS. So welcome to our 25th episode of this on the MS&Me Radio Network.
And hi, this is me, Jennifer Digman. And sorry, I totally missed my cue. Dan was like,
no, I just kept going. I just kept
Couple
going.
Takes on MS. But
I did. I was going to shake it up today.
You were going.
This
shake
is Jennifer.
Shake it up. Yes, this is our 25th episode, as Dan said. And today we are wondering, how do you take care of yourself? I mean, as a person living with multiple sclerosis, as a caregiver, or as someone who loves somebody living with MS, or just a random person who's listening to our show, we wonder, how do you take care of yourself?
And that's a challenge. I mean, just like a question of how do you, because we also were talking about then the why it's important to do that, but it's like, how do you take care of yourself when you're living with a chronic illness? I think what we've been doing, if you've been reading on our blog, danandjenniferdigman.com, for the last
3 weeks.
3 weeks, and we're going into our 4th week, a self-care challenge that we're doing along with health storylines, just in terms of like, how do you care for yourself? And so we started talking about caring for yourself and self-care.
Which is so very important, not to interrupt, babe.
You did.
But, we're just talking about self-care because it's very important if you're a person living with a chronic illness or you're a person taking care of someone with a chronic illness. Either way, you need to take care of yourself. And self-care being as important as it is, that's why Dan and I have worked with health storylines to do these challenges for the last 3 weeks.
And we started out, and I guess obviously when you're talking about taking care of yourself, and it's probably related a lot to like what you do with your New Year's resolutions, everyone's talking diet and exercise, and so we talked about that in terms, starting off with diet and why that's important.
And just as simple as eating breakfast every day or incorporating more fruits and vegetables in your diet. The one that I'm a little leery, that I know would be very important to add to our diet, having the MS bladder, which I've spoken about probably ad nauseum. You all are rolling your eyes out there. But those of you also living with multiple sclerosis know what I'm about to say. We should drink more water, and that's a balance, a very careful balance. So as far as diet, you need good food, and you need to incorporate water, and that's important to healthy skin, which is another part of self-care. It's just taking care of your appearance. But anywho, this first self-care challenge we had was about a healthy diet and eating breakfast in the morning.
I think it's just getting things started. But something that we've heard about, or I've talked with people, is just like Terry, our friend Terry, had noted the first thing she does in the morning is drink a glass of water. When they say you're supposed to have, 64 ounces of water a day. And so imagine that, just how challenging is that with the MS bladder? Because I know water goes right through me. It's just like the second you do it. But it is just drinking that water in the morning, but then eating the breakfast, because it truly is the most important meal of the day.
As my brother Steve constantly points out, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And as Terry, she's drinking the water, which is very important. I know it plumps skin and it makes you feel full longer.
And it helps with digestion.
It aids in digestion, and so that's very important. So that was the first part of our self-care challenge.
And I think that that's where the eating healthy and the diet, and that's one way that you can take care of yourself.
Because that's the important thing about self-care, is it's just taking the ownership that even though you're the person living with the disease, or you're the person caring for the person with the disease or the condition, you have to take care of yourself. And if you are not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be good to anyone else. And me, I'm the one in the wheelchair who has 2 caregivers during the week, and then Dan is my always caregiver. I need to take care of myself so that I can make it easier to be taken care of, if that makes any sense. But you know what I mean? Like, if I'm just being slovenly and I'm never exercising and I'm just eating McDonald's, God, I love a good hamburger all the time. If I'm just eating that way all the time, it's going to make my muscles a little less helpful, and it's going to make me weigh a little more. Just so it's going to make Dan, Crystal, Marcus's job a little more difficult. That's why I have to take care of myself, and never mind the fact I want to feel good. You know, I don't want to just be a person who's kind of given up on myself. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Well, and it's just, even though you have support and help from your caregivers, we as caregivers, and you care for me.
Right.
We as caregivers can't take everything on ourselves. It's like then we as people receiving the care, we need to do as best a job as we can to take care of ourselves, not only for us, but for the people who are providing the care. And I think that's why we opened up with even just hinting at diet, because we didn't get into everything about numbers of fruits and vegetables and things. It's like just really thinking, get things started right
with a simple thing like eating breakfast every day, getting your morning engines roaring a little bit that way with eating breakfast.
Yeah, because it's just the reality. It's the food. It's like it's not just filling your belly. It's getting the fuel to help your body run. It's like you don't put really bad gasoline in your car and expect it's going to run forever. I mean, you want to make sure you're using the best fuel. Obviously, I know I don't get the really, really high octane that's the really expensive gas, but it's just like you want to make sure that you're filling up with good things. And so that's, I think, in terms of how do you take care of yourself, the basics of the food, the fuel that's going to get you started. But then we had also then touched on the exercise. It wasn't even just exercise.
We were careful not to say exercise. We wanted to say just move more, and that's a simple, maybe not as simple, but it's a pretty manageable request just to move more, to take care of yourself. I know I feel better when I stretch, which is movement. I feel better when I use my leg pedaler, or as I said, when I stretch, or when I get in my standing frame just to get my blood pumping, to empower me to know I can do something for my health. And so I think the second week of our self-care challenge, we wanted people to move more. How did you move more?
Well, and I think that's an interesting thing, Jennifer. Well, I think it's just, because I think that's where you are a good example, because I don't want to stereotype, but I think it's just because, and I think that's why we didn't talk exercise. It was just moving, because obviously you're not going to go out and run, but thereby then neither am I, because I'm not physically in shape to run. But it's just that starting with that movement, that motion, and the stretching, and
it's interesting. You were talking about running, and I'm not going to go out there and go for a walk, But I was talking to my friend Boris recently about why taking care of myself is so important. I'm not walking right now, but dang it, I believe and I truly have hope that someday multiple sclerosis will be cured or halted in its tracks, or there will be some way that I can regain my ability to walk. But if I'm not in good shape, if my muscles are weak and atrophied, and I don't take care of my skin, and I don't take care of my digestive system, my overall physical health, that when that key to unlock the mystery of why I'm not walking is found, if I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not going to be able to walk again. And so I think that should be motivation to take care of yourself. Even if you aren't in the physical condition that you want to be, take care of yourself so that someday when you can reclaim that physical condition where you want to be, your body will be able to do it.
Absolutely, because you want to make sure you're in the best possible shape you can be in for when those things happen. And I think that's just where the movement, the motion, and everything. And that's, I didn't exercise. I stretched, but I think the big thing I did was I pitched horseshoes. I went outside and threw horseshoes. I mean, and granted, I was like celebrating because it was like 35 degrees here in Michigan and the snow was gone.
Yes, but now it's not
And now
35.
it's snowing.
Like
They're
a
talking
week later, it's
3 to
snowing.
6 inches and everything. But just even, when you say, oh, horseshoes isn't that big deal. Well, actually it is, because you've got to use your arm motions to throw the horseshoe and then walk back and forth between the
Never mind the vitamin D your skin was soaking in,
with the sun and
being
then,
out there in the sunshine.
and that's where I'm blessed, because Jennifer, one year for our anniversary, got me horseshoe stakes and horseshoes, and I installed pits in the backyard. So
And I am equally blessed because I get to see my husband getting some activity that he enjoys, because I think that's one component of self-care we haven't touched on, is just trying to maintain your happiness and your healthiness. And happiness kind of go hand in hand, because doesn't everybody, when you feel good, like physically, mentally, you feel good? And so, I think that makes perfect sense.
and maintaining that attitude, yeah.
is there, yeah. But then we were talking about like your mental happiness. Our third week of self-care, we talked about flexing your mental muscle, because that's one thing that I think is so important, and one thing that I don't want to lose is I want to stay sharp mentally, and whether that be from reading a book or watching Jeopardy and learning some things, even if it is a television show. I always pick up one or two things I had no idea about, or like I said, reading a book or playing Scrabble.
Well, it's just the mind things to keep, because I think that, when we're living with multiple sclerosis, one of the big symptoms or things that
One
get
of the
affected
potential symptoms
is cognition and the cognitive things. And they talk about that with cognition and mental stability or mental strength.
Yeah.
Whatever health condition. I mean, you're thinking like, talking with Alzheimer's, my grandma had Alzheimer's and dementia.
Right.
It's just like keeping your mind mentally active. And so it's the playing the Scrabble, even playing, talk Jeopardy, even Wheel of Fortune. I mean, just to where you're trying to do
God love
that.
Pat and Vanna. Nothing is more fun than like shouting at the TV, like when you know an answer. I mean, that is happiness, and it is keeping your mind sharp. And not to name drop again, but my sister-in-law Dawn plays Sudoku, which never
Blows my
ever,
head.
it's just gonna be such a challenge. But I'm always up for challenging myself and trying. So something like that to keep your mind active and flexing your mental muscle to keep you sharp. And that was the third week of our Healthy Storylines challenge for self-care. And I think that piece was really fun. I know I just gave my opponent on Scrabble a beat down Granted, my opponent is the computer, but that was really fun, and that made me feel pretty powerful. And I was like, yeah, take that. It's just those little things that make me happy, and it made you smile to hear me say that I won. I was
Anytime you're talking like a
victorious.
beat down on a computer, I'm just like, you go, girl.
Thank you. It was a good game, and
And I think that's what, and I'm, reading more. I think that's the big thing, is just sitting down to read novels. Whether it's on your Kindle or a full blown book. It's just like, just to get your mind going that way. And so it was. So we talked then the diet, the movement, and the mental muscle. And then with all of this activity that's being pushed then for our final self-care challenge, for a month long of challenges through the health storylines, rest. Just, that's the one thing, is just getting the rest that you need.
stealing those moments if you have to. Because I know so many people are busy with work commitments or family commitments. Just even if you have to steal 15 minutes away to get a power nap, or to get a really good night's sleep, to force yourself to go to bed a little earlier, you need to do that. You need to get your rest, because just to help keep you sharp and to be ready to get up and eat your breakfast and to exercise and to get your mind working, you need proper rest. And I know both Dan and I are.
We're
a
do
little,
as we say, not as we do.
We're a little tired. It's been a busy few days. And so tonight we're going to get our rest for sure. We're going to go to bed a little earlier and find the right pillow, find the best sheets, so that you can get that good rest.
But I know that, I had read a report once, or just the benefits as to why people need to sleep. And it was like, when I was working really hard, and it was just like, when you pull the all-nighters and stuff, and they just had how you actually are doing yourself a disservice if you're staying up later to do the work, because it infringes on your sleep, and then the next day you're not as mentally alert and as quick to think through things because you're tired, and just how you're doing yourself more of a benefit and stop working and getting and focusing on your sleep. And I know that, sometimes, and I think that's part of what those of us with MS we're dealing with,
right,
is because, and that's my problem, is I don't sleep well. And I know that there's been memes on Instagram and Facebook and everything where it's just like, with MS you're tired all day, but then insomnia at night, where you can't sleep. And that's because you are groggy, you're worn out, you're tired, or then you sleep during the day, and then, or if, my problem is I'm tired then, and so you drink more coffee and drink coffee later, and then I can't sleep at night.
It's a vicious cycle.
It is. And so, but it's just like, this is why though, it's like, we always say, oh, well, sleep, we can go to sleep. Well, it's just like, but make that concerted effort to shut the TV off, to turn, I turn my cell phone off now.
Right.
And
that's a new thing. And it's nice to not hear your chimes, because your cell phone is, like, I'm sure people love their children, but your cell phone is like a screaming child, like, pick me up, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. If you don't turn it off at 2 a.m, you'll hear some noise, some alarm that's like clamoring, like, cell phone needs love too.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
It
When
is.
you hear those weird alarms or jingles in the middle of the night.
Or even as such that, when we get up in the middle of the night and I help you go to the bathroom, while you're going to the bathroom, that's why I turned my cell phone off, because while you're going to the bathroom, I'd say, oh, I can go check and see, is there another 2 likes on Facebook for that photo I put up? Because
Right.
that's where we're addicted to that.
Social media. But then too, when you check your email in the middle of the night, you'll read things that you'll be like, oh crap, I have to take care of that in the morning. Or why did I read this? Because that kind of upset me, or I got my mind whirling a mile a minute, like I need to do this tomorrow. and you don't want to get yourself wound up at 3 in the morning because you need those few more hours of sleep before you
You're
tackle
checking the
the
score
day.
of the game then, and look at
Yeah.
this last second, field goal that won the game, and then you're well, what did that do to my fantasy team? And
Exactly. And then you're all worked up and then you're not able to go to sleep. So I think that's a good point, is just to turn the cell phone off in the middle of the night and don't get yourself woken
I
up.
think that's where, when we say rest and get your sleep, it's like maybe just the break from everything. It's like when everyone wants to be, quote unquote unplugged or go on vacation where you have no access. Well, don't wait for a big vacation to separate from that stuff. Take the time at night. Just
That's
breathe.
that's good advice.
Just to
You don't
breathe.
have to go to a beautiful island setting to unplug and just take the time to breathe. And I know a lot of people benefit from doing yoga or breathing, and maybe that would help get more rest.
Well, and I think that's to where, when we talk, we didn't do the self-care challenge of exercise, wanted to make it attainable. It's like self-care challenge of just the motion. Well, then self-care challenge to not rest in terms of like sleep itself, but rest just to separate yourself and indulge in that shutdown. Just
And again, it could be that 15-minute cat nap. Oh, and I mean, I've seen video of actress Jennifer Lawrence when she's on a movie set and she can find a corner someplace to hide away and grab a quick nap. She will do that. If she can do that, why can't we? I know the importance and the power of a quote unquote power nap. Just you wake up and you feel refreshed, and that's stellar if you ask me.
well, and especially, living with, dealing with multiple sclerosis, and it is sometimes that's all we need, because we know how the fatigue is like a huge symptom of what we're dealing with
And
the
and it
multiple
is for a lot
sclerosis.
of us,
Oh, it's
and it's always there.
and so it's just take those moments to rest, or that cat nap, to get that, quick recharge. It's kind of like your wheelchair, your power chair. It's just like sometimes the battery's low and you have like maybe 2 bars. All you need is like a good 30 minutes just to
Just to
give
charge
it
it
a
up a
little
little
juice.
bit.
But then, at night when you go to sleep, you're going to put it in and give it a good hard charge.
Yep.
And so thereby, why can we not think of that with us? It's just like that cat nap to give you just a few more bars to get you through the day.
And
But
it
no,
and it all adds up, and this is all parts of taking care of yourself, because you are the most important person. You need to take care of yourself, because again, it goes back to that analogy that Dan used before. If you're going down on an airplane, put the oxygen mask on yourself first so that you can help the people that are around you. If you're with children or family, and it sounds selfish, but you have to take care of yourself. Again, even if you're the person living with the condition or the disease, or you're the caregiver, you have to take care of your own health.
and it's where, with the multiple sclerosis, I mean, obviously there are things that the MS is going to do to us, to you, that are totally out of your control, no matter how well you take care of yourself. But there's a lot that the disease is never going to touch, that you need to take care of everything that is within your control that you can do. And I think that's what we've been really pushing for in these self-care challenges we're doing, as part of, as self-care advocates.
That's a really good point. There's so much the disease can touch. The one thing it can't touch is the way you treat and maintain your own body, and what fight you're willing to put into making sure the disease does not steal all of you or all of what you can control.
And I think that's what, just check out, and this is, I mean, really just helping you, just to give you the tools to maybe help you push into that,
That
caring for
self-care.
yourself. So I encourage you to check out our website, danandjenniferdigman.com, that you can find, the essays about self-care challenges and ways you can help and improve yourself. And that'll also provide links to Health Storylines and the Health Storylines app that really can help you track things and your feelings and moods and the way
And
that
give you an opportunity to journal how your
I was gonna say,
self-care is going.
You've used that journal, and it's like just jotting the notes
And it
down.
makes you feel very powerful, and it gives you control, and that's so important when you're living with a chronic illness. Gives you some aspect of your disease that you're controlling.
And just that whole self-care. And so tell us then, as you go to our website or on our Facebook or on Twitter, Dan Jen Dig.
Yep.
On
Or
Twitter.
Instagram, if you want to share photos of how you're taking care of yourself, please, we would love to see it. If you want to reach out to us on our blog, Dan and Jennifer Digman, please drop us a line and we'll get back to you.
And
Thank you all for listening.
Yeah, so take care of yourself. And until next time, thanks for listening. And also, thanks to MS&Me Radio Network for including us in our show on this program. And also then too, thank you to Blue Giraffe Kid, who composed the theme music for our show, A Couple Takes on MS. Until next time, this has been Dan Digman.
And this is me, Jennifer Digman. Have a great week and take care of yourself.